Hello YouTube and welcome to the first ever annual Blood Bowl 2025 opinion poll. So I did a poll with a bunch of very experienced coaches. I think we go for it. Yep. So I asked loads of members of people I know who play lots of NAF style. So members of Team England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Denmark, USA, Canada, and a load of other good coaches who are kind of on the borderline of those international teams that play very, very high level. I asked them to rate every single team from 1 to 10 and leave some comments. The parameters are quite generic. So I said, imagine like the most basic rule set. Probably imagine that like elite skills are capped at like 4 elite skills of each type. But kind of do what you want with it. And then next year, obviously, we might have a bit more of a firm idea where the community's going. And we'll compare it. So this is mostly vibes. We've all had some practice now. But a lot of this is vibes. But Blood Bowl's kind of Blood Bowl. So although the rules have changed, I would argue that the game hasn't like massively been, it's not a revolutionary brand new game. You know, a lot of experience knowledge will still work. So anyway, we're going to go through from number 30 all the way to number 1. So number 30, and this was a little bit of a surprise, I thought it'd be slightly higher, was Halflings. Halflings averaged 2.7 out of 10. So I expect the Halflings to be a bit higher because they're still star player caddies. I also think they are not the worst of the two quote-unquote good guy, get elf star player teams. We'll cover the other one in a minute. So I was a bit surprised they were a bit lower than Gnomes, but that's what... No one really had any comments about Halflings. I think they have lost fouling access. They've lost Griff, but I would still say once Jordell gets unbanned, if he gets unbanned, oh well, Jordell's pretty good. But Flings were considered to be the worst team in Blood Bowl 2025. At number 29 was Ogres. I expected this guy to actually be last, I'm going to be honest. But I think people quite like the break tackle element of Ogres now. So, and they didn't really get... They haven't really changed, have they? Let's be honest. They're still kind of the same team they were. Rioters rookies got a little bit nerf for them, but sometimes, especially in NAF, you don't really take Rioters rookies. Number 28 was Gnomes. I expected these to be lower than Flings, if I'm honest. I think Gnomes have been hit quite heavily in this edition. The elite tax really hurts them. But I don't think 28. I think we're kind of maybe arguing over semantics at this point. They feel very bad now. They are kind of gone down with Halflings. I would argue that personally, this Master Chef might be better, but this is where they were voted. Number 27 is Chaos. I would like to next time. I will change the color of the writing prank. I will be honest. I kind of got to the end of doing all this, and it was not a quick process. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think the writing is the right color. Especially with the blue, but I'm not redoing every single slide. So it took me quite a bit of time last night. So yeah, I'm not redoing them. But next time I will use different colors. 27 is Chaos with 4.1 out of 10. I was a bit surprised. I think Chaos are a weird one. Like in NAF, they've got cheaper. And I don't think the loss of strength skills on the Beastman is as big as NAF. But, yeah, I mean, they still need a really, really, really elite package, don't they? Let's be honest. Right, number 26 is Black Orcs with an average of 4.3. Bit better than Chaos, but it's still kind of the same ballpark. They've got slightly better because the Troll hasn't got Loner anymore. That's really good for them because they kind of need to rely on the Troll to do a lot of stuff quite often. And the Goblins kept fouling access. They didn't really change much afterwards, did they? In NAF, their ability to get more star player points doesn't really matter. They probably still need a very good rule set to be good. Number 27 was Khorne, which I think kind of... These 4 teams all feel very similar, don't they? They all need really good packages. They're all lacking core skills. The elite skills have really hurt all 3 of them. They're just a little bit reliant on RNG getting removals. Yeah, I mean, Khorne at least has Frenzy. You can do some stuff with Frenzy, get some Surfs, reposition people. But they still need a really good package. Number 24 is Dwarfs. Now, if there's one I think that we may get wrong, and we look back on this in a year, I think it's Dwarfs. I think Dwarfs might end up actually being a bit better than we're all giving them credit for right now. They're still block. They've still got fixed goal. They're still armor 10 plus. Yes, the starting roster's worse. Yes, they've got worse skill access than they used to. Maybe need to rely on the death roller. We'll see. But I still think I don't think Dwarfs are going to be an elite team anymore. But I still think we may find them when we look at this in a year's time around mid-table. We'll see. But I understand why they're down here. Elven Union at 23 with an average of 4.6. I think this is fair. I don't really know what Elven Union do anymore in NAF, except maybe be a star player caddy. The issue being Elf star players are really expensive. So, I don't know what they do, if I'm honest. I think they're going to be a very fun team still, but oof. You can barely afford the death roll. It is true, Kalon. Especially if you want to bribe. I will see. I just don't know. I don't know. I just think a team that starts with block and armor 10 plus feels, I don't know. If you give them a secondary though, a guard lino with defensive is going to be a nightmare for some teams. It's not good as zone line women, blockers obviously with guard and defensive, but we'll see. But yeah, this is. I hope they get a redo at some point because Union Elves kind of feel a bit sad right now. They are by far the worst elf team, and it's not even close. And they didn't used to be great. Yeah, I think that's true, Kalon. I don't think Dwarfs are going to be winning many events, but we'll see. I know there's a couple people. So I forgot to bring the stats up. Dwarfs were a weird one. So like all the other teams around here, all their scores were between like 6 and 2, 6 and 1. 2 people gave Dwarfs a 9 and an 8. 2 people really rated Dwarfs, but it was countered by the people who really don't rate Dwarfs. So I'm going to be interested to see who's right on that. Obviously, the majority says they're bad, hence why they're down in 24th. But we'll see. It's kind of the fun of this. It's why I'm looking forward to seeing this in 2026 and seeing, when we can look at the differences and we can have like a little arrow or so here saying whether they got better or worse. 28 is Renegades. A little bit surprised they've broken away from the other ones, although their score is still not that much off. I guess they've still got. They start with like. They start with Mighty Blow. They start with the good score. They can just get removal heavy quickly. The thrower got slightly better. Maybe he starts seeing play. But I was a bit surprised they broke away from like the Khorne, the Chaos Dwarf, not Chaos Dwarfs, Khorne, Chaos, and Black Orcs. Yeah, no, I agree, PC. I personally don't think they are good. But if I was going to say there's one team that I think right now would shock me and actually be a lot better than everyone thinks, it is Dwarfs. But we'll see. But my money would still be on the Dwarfs are probably going to be similar next season. But, there's just that nagging feeling in the back of my head that Dwarfs might be better than we first think. But we'll see. Especially if the gold goes down, though, they are. And a lot of TOs I've spoken to are talking about gold coming lower now. I think Dwarfs are going to struggle because they need money. They really need money, which is weird because Dwarfs never needed money. Now they really, really do. I think you could be right on that one as well, PC, and we'll get to them when we come to them. Goblins up at 21. The second highest stunty team. This is one I think we might be overrating at the moment. I think the theory of Goblins might be better than what Goblins actually look like in tabletop, but they clearly got better. I understand why they're up here. But I still think maybe this time next year they've dropped back down to the other stunties. We will see. But yeah, I think the Goblins seem to have a lot of potential right now. Into 20th, we have Humans. I will be honest, I've played a few games with Humans now. They were a bit better than I thought they were going to be. They still have taken a hit, in my opinion. And I still worry about them in the bash matchups. Because beforehand, in a bash matchup with 4 guard and the ogre, I felt with some good positioning, I could kind of hold my own. Not so much now. They're probably a bit more of a star player caddy service. So maybe look at like Griff or I always get his name wrong. The Yeti Strog, is it? Strog? They are so cheap. Yeah, they are so cheap. The captain rule's really good. Getting pro and a blitzer. Ivan, that's a great Strog. Yeah, they can really get some star players in there. So yeah, while I don't think they are, I think this is a fair assessment of where they are in 20th. When I first saw the roster, I thought they'd be right down the bottom. Now I think they're better. I think this is fair. I think they actually could surprise people in the right pack with the right package. Without 4 blitzers, they feel like humans. Yeah, I agree. Losing 2 blitzers hurts them so much. It really does. But the catches are pretty good. Strength 3 catches are very good, as we'll talk about later with another team. Strength 3 catches are really good, especially when they start with dodge. At 19 is Bretonians. I've been messing around a lot with Bretonian rosters. All teams are fucked, it's fine. I've been messing around a bit with Bretonians. If you might have seen on Facebook or Discord, I posted this picture of my Bretonian team today. Painted, of course, in Cornish colours with Cornish heraldry, because it's me. They're not great, but they, like humans, they are cheap. Really cheap. Starting with everyone with like wrestle and block, except for the catchers, I think is not bad, obviously. They're going to be a star player caddy. They're going to come down to rule sets. Every time I try making a roster without a star player, it's felt really bad. With a star player, though, I think they might be all right. You go as far as the Grail Knights, really. Yeah, I have... so most of my rosters PC are 1 catcher, which I give dodge to, just as a ball carrier. But yeah, it's mostly Grail Knights and linemen. I have 9 linemen painted up. Yeah, I think if the linemen had been 10k more and +1 armor, I think they could have been far better. I think you're right. The humans and Bretonians feel very similar. They're both very cheap. They both can do a lot with star players. Obviously, the rule set works with star players. I think you're fine. A lot of rule sets I'm seeing are banning star players at the moment, and I just don't see Bretonians doing well in that environment. To 18th, we have Chaos Dwarfs. Average of 5.5. Again, this was one of those teams that had a very wide spectrum. Some people had them down at like 3.3. Some had people up at 8 and 9. I personally really like Chaos Dwarfs in the new rules, but with the caveat, they do need about 8 skills and a stack to have any chance, in my opinion. But again, they've got lots of block. They can have lots of guard. Bull Centaurs, once skilled up, are really good. I like the Minotaur myself, and I know not everyone does. The Minotaur is basically like a 5th blocker, is kind of how I use them. So yeah, I've done... I've done fairly reasonably well with Chaos Dwarfs at tournaments. So I like them. We'll see where they go from here. I think they are. I think some dwarf coaches who are unhappy with what happened to dwarfs should probably look at Chaos Dwarfs. The main nerf is the hobgoblins now don't have general access, but that's fine with secure the ball. And in all fairness, you're probably not leveling them anyway. The stab out might actually be worth it now as well. That's something which I need to keep an eye on. At 17, we have Snotlings. So not quite in the top half, but that's pretty good going. Yeah, Snotlings. They've got better. This pump wagon's now worth taking. They are a star player caddy. I think they're going to be very frustrating to play against. At the same time, though, I do wonder if maybe we're slightly overestimating where they're going to go, because they still have the ability just to explode. But if you have like Varag or Ripper and 2 trolls and 2 pump wagons, that's going to be a nightmare for people to deal with. Next, we have Skaven in 16th, and I think this is kind of fair. Again, Skaven's a team which I initially thought were going to be very bad this edition. They're very cheap. Gutter runners are still gutter runners. The blitzers are quite scary. I think they are. I think they'll still do all right. They clearly are worse. Gaining stab and gaining strip ball on an edge 3+ player. Sure, the +1 movement's the main thing. It would have been nice maybe the lineman had got something or the thrower got something. Well, obviously, this probably all depends on the animal savagery ruling, because as we record this, animal savagery is written very badly, I'm going to say. I hate to say it, but it is badly in the rulebook. And it can be interpreted that you don't get to keep on moving if you hit your own teammate. And if that's true, I think they are not worth... I think the Rat Ogres obviously becomes quite bad. It's definitely the worst negative trait at that point. We'll see. But, yeah, I think this is about fair for Skaven. Right rule set, right gold. I think they could do well. Might be a star player caddy, as we talked about a few teams. So I think we're going to see the gold come down a bit. 15th nobility. Who would have thought it? Nobility in the top half. Average of 6.5. So just to go back a second, there was quite a big jump here. So we had a load of teams around 5 something, and then there's a big jump to almost a whole point higher, and we've got nobility. So this does feel like the haves and have-nots a little bit. I really like nobility now. They still have some weaknesses. The blockers becoming movement 5 is a little bit of an issue. But the throwers now worth taking. The blitzer got better. They got cheaper, which is the most important thing. The lineman got edge 3 up, rather than being edge 4 up. I think nobility, again, right rule set, will be very good, very frustrating. The only probably downside to them is there's a team that does what they do slightly better now, which is Nurgle, which will put our 0.1 point higher. Nurgle, I think this is fair for Nurgle. So Nurgle clearly were one of the big winners of the rule upset, even losing 2 Pestigors. They got cheaper. They got stand firm on their bloaters, and I believe they also got cheaper. They got pick me up on the rot spawn. Phenomenal. It's like if you don't have block and the bloater has block, there's something like a 70% chance it hits you back next turn. That's just they're going to be so frustrating to play against when you have that game when you fail foul appearance and you don't only get pushes, and they just keep relentlessly moving forward. The issue with Nurgle is still in winning games. They'll be very good at drawing games, and if they can turn you over and don't have to score on their drive, they might actually want to kick. The Pestigor as well with fixed goal and steady footing aren't bad. I think this is a fair place. I think them and nobility, they're in that kind of pack where I quite rate them, but I don't think they are. I don't think they're like they're not like a top. They're not one of the teams that are favourites to win a tournament. But I don't think you want to face them in a tournament. You don't think anyone else is high personally? Fair enough. You think it's overrated as well? Yeah, I still think that they're one of those teams. I think if you're trying to win a tournament, and your opponent goes Nurgle, you're going to go, oh, okay, because there's just going to be that game where they just frustrate you so much, and you just don't get to do what you want. Foul appearance, stand firm, pick me up. I still think I'm more interested in them in league than NAF. Maybe they're a bit more overestimated in NAF, and in league play I think they're going to be very good. We'll see. They're one of the teams I really want to try once Blood Bowl 3 updates to Blood Bowl Warhammer, or on Fumble, or if my league goes, we go for fast enough for my league. I've got loads of teams I want to try though, so probably going to be electronically. But I still think they are, and you can't really one turn on them now as well. But we'll see. I say, yeah, they're definitely going to struggle to win games against some teams. But yeah, foul appearance is annoying. They are. How do you play to? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they got the but secure the balls help them on that a little bit. Secure the ball. I would like to have seen the rot sport. The rotters maybe got something, but yeah, I still think they are the best chaos team though. I think we can all say that. If you look at Chosen, Renegades, and Khorne, in my opinion, Nurgle are clearly a step above those teams. Next up, we have Tomb Kings. Yep, 5th, 13th. I think this is fair. So I'm in a weird spot with Tomb Kings, because Tomb Kings tend to do well at tournaments. They got better. But I think the reason Tomb Kings used to do fairly well in tournaments is because not many people played them, and the people who played them were very good with them. So I've played... They feel... I don't want to say they're like vampires in that respect, because I think they're completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But I think you know what I mean. Like, if you get a good Tomb King coach, they are a nightmare to play against. If you get an average coach, or they say bad or newer coach, you can generally run rings around them. So they've got better. Clearly, they've got better, and I'm looking forward to playing with them. But I think this is kind of fair. They do fill in that kind of chunk, like this chunk in the middle, which is teams that in the right rule set can do well, with the right coach can do well, but probably aren't your favourites to win the tournament. I have seen them also getting very high-tiered, like tier 2, tier 1, like tier 1 out of 3, tier 2 out of 5. And I wonder they're not going to get the help they need to actually be good. Number 12 was Dark Elves. Which if you haven't heard, they're dead. Yeah, I think that's the thing. They're great. Yeah, great for a team tournament when you want to draw. Probably. Yeah, that's one. I think that's really fair. They can maybe push for a win, but you can probably grind out a good draw of them. The issue Toon Kings still have is eventually they have probably going to make a 4+ dodge at some point in the game, and relying on a 4+ dodge to win a game probably isn't ideal. Dark Elves, again, like Dwarfs, like Chaos Dwarfs, very wide spectrum of scores here. I think 12 is about fair. I think they've dropped out of the elite tier, the top kind of 5 to 8 teams, but I don't think they've dropped that much. I still think they are a very, 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 very good team. I still think we're still going to see them with some very good players in the right rule sets of tournaments. Punt was a real missed opportunity to do something new and different, and it really sucks that Punt sucks. I want a Punt to be so good. I want a Punt to change the meta, and unfortunately, Punt is awful. But Hit and Run, phenomenal skills. Phenomenal skill. Assassins now really have a role. The Witch Elves is going to be a bit more important. Losing 2 blitzers, I'm not going to say, oh, you lost 2 blitzers, you're fine. But yeah, it's a shame about, and obviously Dump Off got worse as well. So it's kind of a double whammy for the runner. I was hoping the runner would be useful. You're going to be building a team around these guys. Yeah, well, I think it's another team that might be playing Christopher B. Number 11, High Elves. So again, we had a bit of a jump here. Dark at 0.5 points higher. This has been the next tier, High Elves. I actually think these guys are slightly underrated. High Elves, again, had a very wide spectrum of scores. Most were in the top half. Most around like 8 and 7, a few 9s. There's some down in 3. And I was like, ooh, I don't see that. I see these guys as being a clear upgrade to Dark Elves because they've still got 4 catchers. The blitzers are still great. The throwers are all right. You can get 12 players in an Apo in like 1500. They come down to what skills you give them because the catchers don't start with skills. They are strength 3. But yeah, I don't hate them being 11th. I was expecting them to be slightly higher though. Right, we're into the top 10. Into the big lads. Underworld. So Underworld also had 7.5. I should have always said, I've rounded down, obviously, because with a lot of these scores, it was like 7.32, 7.1, blah, blah, blah. So I've rounded them up. And then obviously I've used those extra points for the tiebreaker. So although Underworld and High Elves had the same score, they are actually... Underworld was slightly higher. Underworld got better. They got the Skaven buffs without any of the downside. They're still... Pardon me. They're very much reliant on what happens with the Ratogre animal savagery ruling whenever we get an FAQ. But you just take the troll for now if animal savagery. It's still fine. They're dirt cheap. They're going to foul you, and then they're going to 1-turn, and then they're going to... and then they're going to Daka. And the Daka's really good at getting around stalling. They're going to be good. Number 9, we had Norse. So Norse didn't really change this edition. They're still kind of what they always were. They're a good, solid team. If they get some good hot dice and remove some people quickly, they can be really good. Block's a good skill, obviously. Fixed skull on the lineman has been very good for a while. They've only got 2 secure the ball options. That's good or bad, I don't know. I would like to have seen the Berserkers get a little bit cheaper, if I'm honest. But I think when they're picking, they're still for NAF, they're still very, very good. But yeah, they haven't really changed. With 7.8, we've got Undead, which I would say is probably not too far off where they used to be. They've dropped down a little bit, obviously. Losing 2 ghouls is big. But starting with tackle and fixed goal and the blitzers is very good. Did they get fixed goal? I made that up. It's not a tackle anyway. The Eye Gouge, having played a few games of it now, really quite useful ability. Once you start getting your head around it. Regen on the ghouls is great. Yeah, I do worry about the 2 ghouls. You need to blodge them up and keep them safe. But they start with tackle. They've got mighty bear. Mummies are still mummies. Yeah, I think this is fair. They are dirt cheap now as well. Number 7 is Orcs. Again, another team that had quite a wide spectrum of scores. Not as much as the other teams that were a bit lower than them. They had some people were putting them at like 10 and 9s. 8 was probably the most common score. And then there's some people putting them down low. I think this is actually quite a fair assessment. I think Orcs are actually going to be good. I still don't think they are going to be a top team. But the blitzers, break tackle blitzers are great. The big uns are just phenomenal players now. They're going to have to take control. So Mr. Fro got better. They've still got fouling access with the Goblin. The lineman getting guard, I don't know how useful it's going to be in NAF style, because I don't know if you're ever going to get enough skills to skill them. But like we've said on a lot of things, they are dirt cheap. And I've made some rosters where they've had like everything you want and they've had a bribe. And I think that could be fairly useful. But so yeah, unfortunately, there's only 2 big uns. If they had 4 big uns, oh my god, they'd be such a scary team. But you're gonna have to take the troll now. I used to hate the troll Norks. I think now you'd have to take the troll. Number 6, we've got Lizardmen with average score of 8. Yeah, this seems kind of fair. Lizardmen are, I would say, it's an awkward one. They've got more expensive, but they are better. You can take leader now. You got Juggernaut on your player, so even if you have some unskilled Saurus, they can still blitz well. I think you should be looking at Frenzy Saurus, because Frenzy, Strength 4, and Juggernaut is very good, as we've seen with Vampires. But the Elite Tax, we need to see how Elite Tax goes. Elite Tax could be crippling for them. So we need to see what happens with Elite, how TOs do the Elite skills. But I think 6 is a very, very good spot for them. I think they're a very good team. So that's where they're rated. Number 5, Vampires. I wasn't sure how to feel about this one. I still think Vampires are very good. Very good. I do wonder if they are... I don't know. Obviously, like, Hypnogaze is a slight nerf, in my opinion. It's got much worse bottom end, but has much higher potential, with it being a flat 3+. The big thing I think might hurt Vampires is if the gold amounts start dropping and we don't do a matrix system, they need money. And I could see them being tiered up with Undead and with Amazons and with Orcs who don't need money, and so they don't get the money they need to build a decent roster. I could see that reality happening. So we need to, they kind of need at least 1140, like minimum, really. So we're interested where they go. But yeah, 5 feels fair. They're a very good team still. At number 4, we have Wood Elves. I'm going to go for a bold take here. I think this might actually be low. I think Wood Elves are potentially the best team in the game right now. Wood Elves worry me a lot with... They've got so much cheaper. And it's all small little increments, but it makes such a big difference to the roster. You can start considering running 12 and an Apo. That's like unheard of. They do not care about the Elite Tax. If you want to get harsh with Elite Tax, they do not care. They'll take some wrestle. They'll take some dodge. Cool. Jobs are good. So yeah, I'm not going to argue before at the moment, but yeah, I think this is a team that we might be seeing a bit higher. Now, a team I think we might actually see a little bit lower next time, but I do agree with where they are right now. OWA in 3rd. Average of 9. Now, I think they might drop off a bit. I think they're very good. They are a very, very good team. I wonder if we might be slightly overestimating them and they're going to get tiered into a position where they're not going to get the skills they need. I don't know. But I've had a few practice games with them. They are very good. They are as advertised. But a mostly strength-free team that's lost quite a bit of guard access, that is a slight worry to me. But I don't disagree. I think until proven otherwise, top 3 makes complete sense. So, number 2. This is probably no surprise. Necromantic Horror of 9.2. Necro just got buffs. Necro just got better this edition. They got all the undead buffs, and then the rest of their players got cheaper. Which is just like, oh, okay, that's mind-blowing. The starting rosters you can do, like in League, are quite good now, which is one of their big downsides was they start slow. It's still lacking skills, I think, for a decent start, but they are very, very good. Yeah, I'm not surprised. They're up here. I think you're gonna see a ton of Necro. Again, I do worry they're gonna be tiered high and they're not gonna maybe get the skills they need, but maybe they don't need as many skills now. We'll see. And number 1 by an absolute margin. So you see, Necro got 9.2 with an average of 9.8. Amazons. I think they got one score of 7, like 1 or 2 scores of 8, and then pretty much everything else was flat 10s, a couple of 9s, flat 10s across the board. I personally feel, until proven otherwise, they're the best team in the game. Yeah, another news, I'm just on still OP. I will be honest, I kind of got the idea from this from a YouTube comment. I had 2 people on YouTube when I did my preview of all the rosters that were convinced that Amazons were bad, and they kept leaving comments. And I'm like, I think until proven otherwise, they're the best team in the game. Now, if dwarfs and humans and undead are a bit better than we thought they were, maybe that's a downside because more tackle around. Maybe they'll have more bad matchups. That could bring them down slightly. But they got better. The only thing they lost is dirty player. And in NAF style, you never took a dirty player anyway. So yeah, I think until proven otherwise, they are the best team in the game. I did ask some people for a few comments. These are the ones I picked out. So I thought some of these were interesting. This one, I haven't put the names to these to, in case they didn't want their names kind of linked to anything they said. So no got clear winners of the rule set, and will be for a while until they get tiered correctly. And I think that's one of the big things with NAF is sometimes TOs, and this is no offense to them, this is just facts. Sometimes TOs are slow to react to the meta. See, like Underworld last edition, when Underworld were by far the best team in the game, had an over 60% win rate, and they still got tiered at tier 3 out of 5. Like, guys, they need to be tier 1. They are dominating with the amount of money and support and star players you're giving them. Tomb Kings and Vactrum got a massive buff, and probably about the same as before. Just imagine that they can disrupt other teams. Break tackle, but I mean, break tackle on Tomb Guardians is really good. More strip ball around, starting stand for Monster Mouse. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's a few skills which trip up Tomb Kings a bit more. Yeah, I agree, Bryden. Star Candy humans and Prairels could be fun. Regular Prairels getting destroyed might be the saddest moment. And none of their additional token meme skills do anything, and I think that's completely fair. Goblins will rule the world, you're welcome. We'll see on the goblins there. I think Zons and Wood Elves are fantastic. They might be suffer significantly from the amount of tackle. So probably 6 and 8 and 9 instead of 10. This was one of the people who did not give Zons a full 10 out of 10. It hits Underworld as well. I think that's fair. That might be something when you consider how much tackle there is around, especially if OWA are popular. Haven't played Yoga yet, but in theory, they feel very oppressive. Yep, I think that's fair. Stunty teams also seem to be like in. Yeah, so stunty teams are interesting. It depends on the megastar list, and I've seen a lot of star players banned, and I think that really hurts stunty teams. I think that this is the GW megastar list. I don't think is actually right at the moment, if I'm honest. I don't think they've missed the mark on a few players. There's some way more better players than I think is on their megastar list personally. If the elite skill cap is 4 of each, I think lizards will drop slightly in NAF events. Actually, I still think they'll be good. Yeah, I think it's the elite skills worry me for a few teams. Like Zons don't care, Wood Elves don't care, Necro care a bit. We'll see how that one goes. I think the surprise to me is Norse. They're still fragile, but they're likely to less block around as an indirect buff for them. I hadn't thought about that actually. That is a bit fell. There's a lot more wrestle, and obviously, yeah, wrestle kind of to rest them down. These skills and afterwards can go in the bin. I don't mind the 4 cap, Jock. I think if you go for you can only have 4 elite skills, I hate that, and I think that's going to kill so many teams. But if it's, you can have 4 guards, you can have 4 block, you can have 4 dodge, although that does hurt. The 4 dodge does hurt a couple of teams. And 4 mighty blow, not that you would. I think that's fine. One of the ones I like is there's an event I'm going to where you can't stack elite skills. I think that could be an interesting way of playing it. So you can't go block mighty blow on a player. You can't go block dodge on a player. But you could go block tackle. You could go tackle mighty blow. So tackle mighty blow probably still might be too good. I don't know. Zon's still busted. Necro are basically as good as them now. That's interesting. I mean, they're not far off on our scoring there. Maybe better if played by a good coach. That's an interesting take. Or whether Necro are better than Zons as long as the coach is better. Which might sound like, well, of course, if the coach is better, it's better. Well, not always. Like, a good Zon coach versus an average Dwarf coach is going to have issues in current rules. Goblins and Snotlings played by a good coach are going to be hell to play against and will catch a lot of people off guard. I think that's fair. Most supported by a Union for me. 5 increase for a Tosi. Unnecessary. Yeah, from Boruski. Doesn't make up for it. Most looking forward to playing OWA. They've basically lost nothing. And yeah, I mean, OWA, one of the big winners from this. Just getting all the human buffs for no real downside. And even some of the Dwarf players, which like in Dwarfs, I'm like, I don't understand their role. In OWA, I do understand their role. And the last one is, I think OWA will dominate, and Orcs and Necro will play a ton too. Hope to see Nurgle shine, but not sure. And I think that's why I am at Nurgle. I think Nurgle could be annoying. They could definitely win like 1-day tournaments. 2 days might be worse. We need to see. Yeah, that's one of the ones we need to see. Again, Nurgle start getting tier 2 high. I think that makes them probably drop off. But there we go. That the little thing I put together. Thank you to everyone who did answer the questionnaires. I will try and make the slides better next year. Learn my lesson this one. I'm going to try and do this about every November. Because by November, you've had like the World Cups, the Euro Bowls, most of the Nationals have been played. I think we'll have a better idea on where we are with the game. Yeah. But I think the takeaway from this is I want to see somebody how some of the initial takes go. A lot of this is just initial takes and vibes. We've all played a few games, so I've played about 8 games with you this year, which is not massive amounts, but there's nothing that's made me go so far that everything that I know currently is like a massive improvement to the game. Still really good things on there, but yeah, so hopefully we'll do this next year. I'll try and get a few more people involved next year. I'm going to try and do it a little earlier next